Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. How are you? Roxy Journal of Stitchery volume number 5, and the prompt for the month for January is pouch, fabric pouch. Now, I have been sitting here for like 20 minutes chatting away to you, bringing you up to speed with my project, and I did not turn the camera on. So I'm going to just put that to one side. We'll get to that and I'll show you this, which is so disappointing, so frustrating, because I made some big decisions and I did some stitching, and now I have realized that I did not film a thing. Feeling a little frustrated. And it was odd too, because Fudgy, let's blame the cat. Fudge was doing zoomies in the room. Fudge come out from underneath my desk at high speed and he bumped the camera arm. So the camera was out of whack. So I put my iPad in and it just didn't feel right. And the iPad was right up against my nose. And as I was filming without it turned on, I felt like I was out of shot. I was down here. I couldn't work out why that was the case, because it just works due to the position I've got. So I'm chatting away, doing all this brilliant stitching here that now I'm just going to have to give you a verbal on, but I guess that's okay. You guys can figure it out anyway. And yeah, looked up and I'm not filming. Disappointed much. Very disappointed. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let's rewind. So I finished stitching all of these little crocheted elements onto my panels, right? As you can see, they're attached. That was the exciting part of the video. So they're all stitched on, invisible stitched. I then got my second piece of calico or muslin, laid it over the top of my work, and I did a simple running stitch with crochet cotton straight around the perimeter. I haven't done any internal stitching to make it fit. I don't think I need to. Often when you line a bag, they sew around the outside, you know, they put right sides together. They'll sew around the outside and they'll leave a little gap, and then they'll turn it inside out and slip stitch that gap close. So the linings are always just, you know, floating. So I thought I don't need to invisible stitch all this down to make it, you know, thick. So that's where we're at with the panels for the pockets inside. They're completely finished. So I've got 2 finished panels. So then I started working on the concertina side of things, and I was getting ready to stitch the side seams closed on them, on the 2 little bags. And it dawned on me that, whoa, I should do this stitching down here first. So I unpinned it. It was like a light bulb came on. You missed it because I didn't film it. It was genius. But anyway, moving along. So I've decided that I'd take the pins out, and I've stitched down through here. And my stitch, for those who are beginners, I go straight through and come out the other side. This is the stitch I use here. I went straight through and then came straight back up, roughly on a straight line. But then I slithered through this layer forward to go back straight through again. So it's like you're getting your back stitch that connects it all, but to move forward, I sort of just slither through the fabric a little bit. Does that make sense? That's more for the beginners who are wondering how they move forward but still go through all of the layers. So you go straight down, come straight back up, that attaches it. Then just slip your needle forward, straight through, straight back up, slip your needle forward. So that's what I did there, and I only did that much. So it's half, and this is not attached, because I can't believe I didn't turn the camera on. I haven't done that for ages. Got too many ideas rolling through the head. That's my problem. And I knew something was not right with that camera. It was just all out of whack. It's Fudge's fault. So now it's attached to start forming that concertina effect. Okay, so my next step potentially is side seams, but I'm thinking I might just stop there, because it probably would be quite handy that when it comes time to attach it into here, if those side seams aren't done, I can then stitch here and then bring the side seams together. So I'm not pushing my hand inside the bag because I've closed it. So I'm thinking we just hold your horses, girl. We'll do this stitch when we're ready at the very end. Then we can stitch the side seams together, and my hands out here can easily achieve it. There's nothing blocking me or obstructing. And then that one will be closed. And at that time we decide whether this is also slip stitched, because that's, I guess, the thing. We should also run a stitch here. So let's just pin it. Let's pretend that we've finished the project, and eventually there'll be invisible stitch down here and here. I can't believe I didn't turn the camera on. Oh well, you've got the summarized version. You didn't get to witness the genius as it all popped into my head on how the hell I was going to construct this thing. I haven't had a chance to watch anyone else's videos. A few of you put in the comments of the very first video where you have seen a similar sort of idea. I just haven't had a chance to click on some of those or go looking. But I think I got it figured anyway, or my version of it anyway. But I'm sure I'm not reinventing the wheel. So let's just, in the very first video, I was contemplating doing 3 pouches. I have definitely decided against that because that's all bulk. I won't need it. This is just for a quick little getaway sewing project, a little piece of slow stitch, some notions to do it. So there we go. There's our concertina really coming into play. I will also put a stitch in the bottom here to hold it into position. Otherwise it'll be flip-flopping around. Now, this is sitting beautifully. Look, I'm not even holding it, and there's structure to it that's making it stand beautifully, which gives me a couple options. We can attach this side here with a stitch at the end of the project. We may or may not. We can also consider attaching that side, so it's all very much attached. We may or may not, who knows, got plenty of options. So that's pretty much how it'll all come together. But remember I said I wanted to have somewhere to put my pins and some needles that I'm traveling with. They can either go in the lid, like the prototype, this space, or, which is another idea that was tossing around right at the very beginning, we don't attach it here, and then we have this space here for something, which was sort of my instinct right at the very beginning of the video, which I haven't fully decided. I just don't know. Oh, look, you could do whatever takes your fancy. Anyway, let's just leave the pouch, the internal pouch for now. I think we're pretty much at a point where I'm going to take those pins out. We know what we're doing, and the next thing is stitching the attachment line onto this, and then the side seams. So we've come to that conclusion in my little head of steps. I'm going to get rid of these pins so that I don't pick it up in a week's time and think I've got to stitch that together. I don't. It's going to be attached into this, whether it's 2 or 1, I don't know yet. We'll think about that. So I'm going to put that to one side. Now, I was working on this. So, in the process of put it away nicely, girl. Don't just throw it across the table. I was working on pinning it prior to the video, and I sort of felt like my panel was a little bit lightweight. Now, I deliberately did that because at the very beginning I was concerned that I was getting too much bulk and that my pouch would be full of fabrics and decorative things, and I would just have no room in the pockets for anything. It just would become huge. So I didn't use any wadding behind my slow stitch. But now I've come back and I'm adding some, because the main reason is when I pinned it together thinking, was I on the right track with this whole idea? This felt really floppy. The pockets felt lovely and substantial and was standing on their own accord. So I just felt like this needed a little something extra. So I went rummaging to find a piece of, I need to change my needle. I'm using a crowbar big thing, and I want a lighter weight needle because, I'll show you why in a minute, I'm trying to attach this without coming through to the front. So the best thing to use, and I had a needle, here it is here, is a lightweight thin needle. And I'm attempting to just tack this on. It's interesting when you're creating something from, your head. There's so many little things you've got to consider, and sometimes you have to take a step back and go, well, I can actually do that because it's not as thick, or it's going to fit, or I just feel like it'll feel really yummy in my hands if I have this little bit of wadding. And I didn't want to cut a brand new piece because as soon as I opened that drawer, there was all these scrappy bits looking at me. So I thought, right, we're going to use them. We're going to Frankenstein this together. And I'm trying hard to keep my needle only attaching to that calico and not coming through to my front and seeing this stitch that I'm doing. So it's a bit tricky. So I'm just sort of got my finger under here so I can feel if that needle pops through to the decorative side. I can feel it, and then I can just stop. It's like hemming, isn't it? You don't want your stitches showing on the front of your skirt. So when you hem, you sort of have to slip it through the layers of the fold at the bottom of your skirt. And I think the secret is make sure your needle's not too thick, because then it's easier to skim through the layers. I think it'll be worth doing this. Now, especially if we want to have a bit of a pinned spot where we can pop a needle, having this little bit of felt in there I think will be a good idea. Probably still would have worked, but I don't know, I really like the feeling in my hand of a bit of thickness, and this just felt a bit flimsy to me. So we're just going to make a small adjustment. Now this piece of felt could have quite easily been attached to the internal piece, that big piece that's going across here. And I did consider running stitch right through the whole thing, so it'd have a bit of a quilted feel on the inside. But that thread and stitching, I know it's not a lot, but it will add thickness and bulk as well. So I decided I wouldn't do that, and I really want to see that fabric for the beauty that it is. And if I go on Canva stitch all over it. I think I'll detract from seeing the imagery that's here. I don't know, and I think I'd rather consider doing a little bit of stitching on here. I don't know. I just didn't want to put running stitch all over it. It's so beautiful. I'd like to just open my little pouch up and there it is, just singing at me in all its beauty. So that's why I've decided to attach this to this piece. This piece is the one that's getting all the embellishment. And I'm yet to add embellishing, which is sort of the next stage. So it'll be quite substantial to stitch into now by doing this. Did I come through the front? Yes, I did. Could just feel that needle. Now when it comes to, I'll just finish this thread off. When it comes to joining these pieces, I'll just show you a quick little bit of that. Back to my quilting days, when you've made a quilt and you've mismeasured the wadding for the inside of the quilt, so you have to patch a couple pieces together, or your wadding's not long enough or wide enough, you've got to patch a few pieces together. This won't go anywhere. All right, let's just knot that off for now. We won't bore you with any more of that stitch, but I will rethread and show you the stitch to do there. You could do a herringbone stitch where you cross over. That would work, but it might be harder to keep your needle from poking through to the other side, I would think. So all I'm going to do is just start my work off. Now, every so often I'm going to catch that calico. Did I go deep there and come out? Nope, that's good. But I'm not too worried about it. It's more binding these little pieces together. Let me just zoom in for a second. You can see how I'm catching. Don't pull it too tight. It's just really tacking it together. And every so often I'm catching that little bit of calico underneath. Don't have to do it on every stitch because it's not going to go anywhere. There we go. Like so. Okay, easy. Patchworking, wadding together. So you can just use all your scraps. It's so good. These bits float around. And for projects like this, it is fine. I'm concentrating. Riveting viewing, isn't it? All right. I'll just finish this row. Then I might stop the camera and get this stitched down. Then I'll come back and we'll start the embellishing at the front. I'll dig out my laces. I don't have all of my Suffolk puffs here. They've been taken to Burham, but we've got one. Maybe there's more around. I don't know. I'll have to have a little rummage, but let's speed it up, girl. Oh, I have to tell you about a movie I watched. Oh my goodness. Let me zoom back up, guys. I think you got the general gist of that. So we went to Kevin and Marianne's for dinner, and the boys realised that Meg 2 was now available on Prime. So if you're wondering what the hell is that, it is not a good story about a little girl by the name of Meg. That would just be too pleasant. So the fact that the boys were keen, I think, is going to tell you it ain't a little girl. Just picture a little girl with red hair called Meg. Great movie that would be. No, it is a prehistoric shark. So Megalodon, massive shark, movie number 1, quite a few years ago. Oh my goodness. It was a painful experience then. But the husbands loved it. I don't know, what is it with men and giant sharks? They love Sharknado too. That's horrific. I'll talk about that one in a minute. But anyway, Meg 2 is available on Prime, and the boys were like, oh, that's exciting. And Marianne and I are sitting there. I'm doing stitching. She's crocheting. So we go to look at it, and it's, Kev kept saying through dinner, it's only $2.95. I'm happy to pay $3 because we never really buy or rent movies. We just wait till they come on for free. So Marianne was quite surprised that he was even considering it, because he's very cautious with his money, I will say. If Marianne, you're listening, she'll be giggling about now. He's a tightwad. Anyway, so he's like, I'm happy to pay $2.95, and we're like, oh, so we're giving you a heckling about spending $2.95, and should we all ditch in, you know, to help him to get his movie. So come to sit down, dessert served up. We're all sitting there licking our plates out from having dessert. And he finds his movie, and it's actually $6.95. It's $7, not $3. So Marianne's like, oh, I don't know, you're spending $7 now. So we were heckling him. He's like, oh, no, I've wanted to watch it all day, you know. And she's like, oh, whatever. So the movie starts, and oh, my goodness, it's got Jason Statham in it, which Strathman, he's pretty cool. We like him as an actor. So we were happy enough to participate in a giant shark, prehistoric giant shark that's come from a crack in the ocean floor called the trench. And down in that trench is all of these dinosaur era fish, octopuses, squids. And of course they go down there. There's an accident, an incident. A crack opens up, and all these big things start following them back up to the surface, and all hang breaks loose. And of course they all turn up at a resort where there's lots of people swimming, so there's a lot of chomping. It's just ridiculous. Pretty much the same as the first movie, when we discovered that there was a trench full of prehistoric dinosaur-like creatures. It was a giant squid, I think, in the first one. So I know this is a spoiler alert, but I'm sure if you sat for a moment and thought, how will Hollywood make a movie role that is a prehistoric creatures and all of that? So, yeah. Evening well spent is all I'll say. But it was all right. They enjoyed it. The boys loved it. It's a boy thing, I think. I apologise if you're a lady out there and you're like, oh, I like a good shark movie. Years and years ago, Sharknado came out, and it was just terrible. Let's be honest. And it was a tornado that had sharks in it. Yes. An aerial, wind, rain, hail, tornado with sharks in it. So everyone's running around a city. It was probably New York. Be one of the big American cities that they filmed it in. I just can't remember which one it was now. So epic city, and sharks dropping from the sky. And these sharks, who had been sucked up by this tornado out at sea, were now dropping onto humans in the city and chomping them. You'd think a shark that was flying around in the air would be like, oh my goodness, I'm not in the water. The last thing I'm going to do is chase someone through Central Park chomping at them when I don't have legs. See what I mean? It's stupid. But the boys loved it. I think they've made 2 of them. I can't remember. I'm still traumatised by it. So, yeah, riveting. So that's what we watched. And it cost Marianne $7. They loved it. And then it's probably about 10:30, and Marianne and I are really weary because I'd had Stitch since I got there at 6, ate dinner, and then went straight back to doing some homework for you guys and Marianne's crocheting. So we're getting weary. It was time to rest the eyes and for us potentially go home. And they started Stargate, the original movie with Kurt Russell, what sort of kicked off the whole series of Stargate. Now, we're a bit of a Stargate fan, and we haven't watched that original movie for a long time. Gosh, Kurt Russell is young in it. It was, we loved it when we were first found it all those years ago. So the boys started watching that, riveting. I'm like, guys, we really should be heading off. It's time for bed. So we drove home, and Gaz was like, oh, I'm not going to come to bed yet. I'm going to put Stargate on. So I toddled off to bed about 11 o'clock, and he stayed up and watched Stargate. So I'm guessing he would have gone well into midnight. What's the time now? 5 to 9 in the morning. So, and he's not out of bed yet. So he definitely stayed up. I don't even remember hearing him come to bed. So you know what's going to happen next. He's going to go, let's do the Stargate series again. And that went for years, 8 years or something, they were saying last night. Amanda Tapping is the lead actress, and what's his name? He played MacGyver. A bit of a fan of him too. Oh, what's his name? Jason Momoa is in the spin-off series Atlantis. That's a bit of a favourite too. I'm now Googling Stargate to see Stargate cast. What's his name? Richard Dean Anderson, Amanda Tapping, Michael Shanks, Christopher Judd. So that's the original series. He was MacGyver. Amanda Tapping and scientist Richard Shanks and Christopher Judd. There's heaps of others that are very good actors. So I think it went for 8 years. I might be wrong. Stop Googling and keep stitching. Just get this done. I was going to stop the video, but I'm going to just get it done. At least this centerpiece, and I know it won't flip-flop anywhere. And then I can embellish. So I betcha Gaz is going to come out this morning and go, let's do the Stargate series again. Which is all right. Doesn't worry me. It was very good, and I'm just going to stitch anyway, so I'm happy just to listen. Richard Dean Anderson's a very good actor. Doesn't do much now. He hasn't been in anything for a little while, unless we've missed it. Got a bit of a loop there. The thread has gone haywire on me, so I'm just going to stitch it down so it doesn't. Okay. I had big plans too for this. See this blank spot here? In my head, that was bigger as I'm scheming what am I going to do there. And I started looking at needle turn applique. I started looking at classic French designs. You know, what can I put in there? And then when I came back to my piece a couple of days later, I realised that the square is actually quite small, so everything that I had thought of and looked at was out the door. So I'm still not really sure what I'm going to do there. I'm just going to wait until I start laying lace down and Suffolk puffs and all of those goodies and see what sort of evolves. I did consider doing a bird, but I think the flap from up the top is going to cover it a bit. I don't know. In my head I've been working it, but it's not till you actually sit down with your piece that you go, oh, hang on a minute, that's probably not going to work. We'll see. And as I said, I've got myself stretched between two craft rooms at the moment, and I have a feeling that my yo-yos are all up at Burrum. Gee, that's a doggy knot there. Goodness me. All right, so I feel happy about this wadding now. I guess when you're inventing the wheel in your own mind, like this pouch and the concertina version of it, you sort of got to be a little bit cautious with the construction, because you don't want to boulder on in and then realise that something's quite not right. It will mean that my little pouch pockets won't be able to hold a lot, let's be honest, because this wadding will definitely put some bulk into the whole project. But I think it'll hold enough. By the time you pop some little scissors and some thread, it's really just designed for a quick stitch. If you're going somewhere and you're taking a bigger project, well, you know, you just have to grab something that can hold it. But if I was doing, say, English paper piecing and I just had some hexies in there to be stitched, it would be perfect size. Okay, I won't bore you with stitching along that final corner, but everything else is attached. So, oh, I've already stitched it. Oh, it's all done. I thought I hadn't gone through there. Oh, excellent. Here it is. I knew there was a corner. Look, here's the corner. Oh my goodness me. Let me come up a little bit. I'm just going to do it. What the hang? I just need to finish it. Sorry guys. Riveting. This video won't have many views because I'm not doing anything exciting. It's all good. It's all part of the process. Let's just finish this. It'll take me 3 minutes. Let's get myself in position. So tell me, what is the worst movie you've ever been made to sit through because the boys or someone in the group was just determined to watch it? So everyone says, all right, we'll put it on. What is the worst movie? And it's become a bit of a family or a joke amongst your friends because it was just so bad. But everyone sat through it and heckled the person that really wanted to watch it. Sharknado is our movie of giggle. And Kev still defends that it was a good movie. He says it's a cult classic. Yeah, righto. I'll leave that there. I was going to trim that off, but it doesn't matter. Just finish it, girl. I need to come up with something for my red square. Maybe there's a piece of lace there that I can feature. Don't know. We'll get the lace bucket out next, I think, and start pinning on some of the yummy things to embellish the little bag. Pouches are always handy, aren't they? They're great for gifts, great for putting gifts in. Gift cards, you know, if you give someone a Spotlight gift card, we'll make a little pouch to put it in, because she's obviously a crafty person that you're gifting a gift card to. I've got Mary Ann's birthday coming up, but I just think it's going to creep up on me before I can do anything. We're all going out for dinner and she'd be more than happy with that. You get to the point where you don't need gifts. Just to hang out with everyone's a great birthday, isn't it? Okay, we're there. We're done. All right, so we have, don't knot, seriously? We've stitched our wadding on. We have worked out how our concertina pockets are going to be done, slowly attached to this piece, not just straight down the side seams. We're going to work on all those internal stitched areas first to give ourselves room to get it all in. There we go. We have wadding. So now, yeah, see, it's still not too thick. It feels good. Yeah, excellent. All right. See, that's the red bit. And it actually disappears around a corner there. So it's going to have to be lace. All right, I might do a quick little tidy up here and then reach around and grab my lace. Let's see what we've got. Okay, let me zoom up a little bit, guys. All right, let's get ourselves into position. Some of these pieces are too big. And they were in a second drawer. Isn't that pretty? I'm not ready to cut into that. It's too big for my piece. We've got a wrong colour. All right, that eliminates one little drawer of random lace. Now this one definitely has more potential. So, also, we have our Suffolk puff bits. So remember, sorry, gone quiet, thinking. I don't think that will be up as high. Where's my pouches? I don't think. Oh, it might be. Yeah, I think it will be. All right. We'll assume that that turned up section is that big. So we've got this little scrappy bit here that I wanted to stitch on, and I wanted to make it feel a bit textured. So we'll just put a couple little pins. Got a little spot here where I can see the fabric below. Sort of don't mind that little piece. Colour's not quite right, but I do like the texture of it. That's probably better colour-wise. Might zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit more detail. Just reposition. I'm thinking this little morsel could come into there. So I sort of want to, do you remember when we were doing snippet rolls? The Anne Brooks Sew for the Soul launch of snippet rolls. That's what I have in mind for this. So I encrusted just little bits and bobs drifting around, beads and lace and just bits. Getting all these little scrappy things and working them in like this type of stuff. Little bits. Use it. Find a home for it. I'm pretty happy with that. There was some tape measure too. Where did that get to? That we grabbed that one video. What have I done with it? This too. Still haven't found a home for that. Some of you were concerned that this check was too overpowering. I wasn't, because I had a feeling, there's a tape measure, that it would just disappear into the background once all of this business started. And I knew I've had this little fruit bowl here where we only had half the image. So I sort of knew that we were going to nestle in around it to help disguise the fact that it is only half the image, but it'll look like a full fruit bowl coming through. I wonder if we use that to maybe hold scissors. I'm going to save that, guys. Not yet. Not yet. So I'm happy with that. So the check is now being pushed back into the background. It is just not as predominant as some of you were concerned that it would be. Yeah, I'm happy with that little cluster. And then I grabbed the beads out from my box, some reds, might even bring some pearls in. So this here needs something as well. There'll be something here for sure. It's great just fiddling. Oh, I like that. I like that. It's all about the bits. That's a collar that's come off of a little blouse, I think. I love how it's all scrappy and that's nice. That's really popped on that red background. See, that's the little spot. What am I going to do there, spot? So now let's flip our bag over, our pouch, and get a view of what it's going to look like when it's sitting on the table upside down. So I'm not going to open the pouch up. I'm going to keep it as if it is sitting like this. That way. Is that upside down? It is. Hold the horses. So yeah, I'm going to embellish with the pouch sitting the way it would sit if it was on my craft table being used as a pouch. That way I'm not going to get confused about things being upside down and the wrong way, and you know, it'll work. So I can look at it as it will be. Does that make sense? So I'm thinking of cutting that there. I'd hate to think how old that collar is. And that's exactly how I got it. It was missing a heap, but it has this little curved edge with this little strap. So it's had a life and it's been removed. So this is a good start. Okay, so this trim still hasn't found a home. Just have a feeling it could be Needs to be smaller, I think. Oh, see, I don't know. I keep going back to the stripe. I feel like the stripe is, no, it's gone. Just glancing behind me here. What else do we have here? Oh, this is always good to nibble at. This is a piece of lace from my grandmother's stash. Look how worn it is that side versus that side. And I just love all this. I feel like I need something. I don't want to lose those scallops, but we need to get up here a little because here we got a patch where there's nothing. Maybe I start up there working back. Maybe that goes up there. I think I need that stripe, but I don't want to use it upside down. All right, guys, hold the horses. No, it's in the little satchel, isn't it? Hang on. You're thinking, what is she doing? I'm going back to my scrap bucket and I need to find that fabric. Where are you? I'm going to put that back in for a rainy day. This is it. What I think I need is a little piece. Oh, look at the flowers. There we go. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take that little it's the pink. It's the pink that's what I need. I think that is going to go there. So let's just straighten that a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Do we come over onto that? No, we're going to stay away from that. So we're just going to bring it down just a little bit and slide it in there. Don't really want to cover that. I just can't quite. Just does not quite right. I keep chopping bits off that fabric and it's just not right. Maybe I just need a piece of lace through here. Nope. That would work. I guess that covers my gap. I think my problem is I really like this flower. Any patch I put on is going to sneak over into that. Don't see much of that trim there, but I don't mind that. And if I have my, but then I've got that sound. I'm not even finishing my sentences. I think I need to make it smaller. Goodness me, I'm just chopping. Now it's crooked. Seriously. See, that's useless because you can't even see a flower on it. Oh my goodness. I'm just turning this gorgeous piece of yummy vintage fabric into tiny little bits. Just pin it down and stop thinking, girl. That's okay. It doesn't line up. Maybe we turn it. Do we like it better that way? Yeah, we do. Oh, goodness me. How can one piece of fabric cause you so much grief? Right, it's staying. I'm not moving it, and I'm going to attempt to encrust it or embellish. What's the encrust? Where'd that word come from? It doesn't, nope. I'm always a fan of this. Look at that flower. Oh, hello. I'm going to cut it out and I probably won't use it, but that's okay. There's a big flower here standing up, looking gorgeous. Maybe that will work. If it doesn't, it'll just go back into the scraps. Look at that. Oh, oh, yes. Yes. I feel like I need to break that up a little bit. Maybe I'll put this other little morsel here. Maybe I'll find an, but perfect. All right, pin it, quick, pin it. Don't know about down here yet, but I love this up here. It covers my gap. It sneaks up onto that red. It complements that. This is that needle turned applique element that I had in my mind. I looked at flowers, I think I could move that over a bit to catch that. And there's that there. Oh yeah, I'm happy girl now. Now this. I think I could lose this flower. I don't think I need the two of them. That will then give me that. I like that. If that tucks, see, I knew this video would end up good in the end when we actually got to play with some yummy things. I think I'll leave that coming over the top because I have a feeling I could probably embellish a little bit around the base of that plant. So it looks like there's a bit of a thing. I wish I had another yo-yo. I don't. So even my red work pouch with all of those elements is at Burham. But that's all right. Picture a yo-yo. Let's just pinch him for a second. Picture a yo-yo there, and it looks then like there's flowers coming out of it. I'm going to have to find something somewhere, surely. There'll be something here. Where did that yo-yo come from? There. It's a good start. Now, what else have we got to play with? We'll leave that flower there. I think we can handle it on that section. Yep, I like that. So there'll be an incrustation here, and then this will come up out of it. That's the plan. We've got an incrustation happening here. I don't know where this incrustation bit is coming from. So now let's flip it over to here. Now we can start piecing some bits, and we have this flower. Yes, let's work a little bit up here. Let's pin him on. Or do we want him here? Oh, gosh, we could do so much. I think we're going to build something here. This, I love that. I love that. I love that. Don't really want to put anything over it. We have this gap here. I love this little edge. So I think if we're going to do something, it'll be just in this zone, like a little. Do we put some of Grandma's bits in? I think we should. No. I know what I need. Let's get over to this. This is the gift that just keeps giving. It's like netting. It's a crocheted piece of cloth and I just love it. Just texture, you know, just, yes. I love that. Softens it. Now we're cooking. I'm going to have to go digging. I am planning another flying trip to Burren with another load of furniture, so we're just waiting on some dates. Ow, I pinned myself to the back of that. Just waiting on dates to firm up with some trades that want to come to the house up there. So there's an opportunity that I get this all to this stage and then I get up to Burren. Can we use this? We get up to Burren and I can rummage through. Gosh, look, it's getting smaller and smaller. Oh my goodness. I keep chopping into it. Oh, just stop it. Put it away. Yeah, if I can get up to Burren and have another rummage through my bits and bobs up there, I think, I'm positive I've got some Suffolk puffs. Oh, look at this. No, I'm now just glancing across my room. What have we got in here, guys? It's all sorts of... Any Suffolk puffs in here? Like, did the girl not pack some away? Love a little piece of embroidery. They're all blues. There's a little bit of pink from when I was doing... But they're not French. They're not French. Last look through the scraps. How are we going for time? 3 minutes. Is there any other morsels in here, guys, without chopping into a big piece of lace because they're all so big? What's that? Too fine. Okay. Oh my goodness. Now it's all coming unraveled. I'll give up. I give up. I've got enough on there to start stitching. I will go hunting and I will be back in another video next week with some more treasures. By then I may have been to Burren. It's just a quick 4-day stint and then we're back to Brisbane. So I'm wondering if I have a little rummage, I might find something. So now I'm packing up. That's it. I'm going to go through some old embroideries. Maybe I can find something that suits. I bet I won't because usually they're bright colours. To find something. Yes, I know I could stitch something, but I sort of want to make it feel like an old vintage scrappy thing. So that means no stitching. But I don't know. We'll see. So I like that too, but it's the wrong colour. Something like that would be pretty. Is it the wrong colour? Oh, it's a bit pretty. What if it came down a bit and sort of just hung over the edge a little bit? I actually don't mind it, guys. When it's in my hand, it's the wrong colour, but when it sits on there, I'm losing my flowers, but maybe then I could stitch into it. Sorry, guys, I'm just thinking. You're probably looking at screen going, no, or do it. It's usually a 50-50 split. You either love it or you don't. Okay, that's all tidy. You know what I'm going to do? going to put it on. Why do I like it? Even though it's not quite the right colour, it seems to be better with the creamy background. Lift it up a little bit. I might even be able to lift this up a little bit. So if I tilt that, what does it bump into? Okay, so it would then bump into the bottom of that other one. So if that went there, and then this came down here, I see more of that background piece. It's now supported. I have lost that guy. I don't want to lose that rose. Pull it over a little bit. It's just about fiddling, isn't it, until you see everything you want to see. And then I think this guy could come up a little bit. Then that will drift over onto there. Now we're cooking. He is supported. I can still see these little flowers. He's got his own space. Yeah. That could come more of an angle, so it's like a swoosh of movement going across. So we've got this little cluster thing happening. Yeah. We've got that coming through there. We'll soften all this edge. Might even wrap that up a little bit more so it's not as, you know, tease it a little bit more so it's more ratty, like an old piece. Makes it more interesting. Yeah, it works because this netty looking lace matches that. Oh, I'm happy with that. I'm happy. I guess that's too has now helped it pop a little bit. And the other thing is this fabric here was very white. This one I squished up in here, that brighter background. So that sort of helps pull that together. Yeah. Then we turn it over and we've got our big flower coming up the back, and we can do some more work through here to make him feel like he's coming out of the ground. And that will be, I think, more Suffolk puffs, which I've got to find. If not, I can always make some. I could even make a couple hexagons. We'll see. Something will come together. So now let's open it up as a panel. And then it's just a case of, see this fold here? So it'll be just a case of repinning it to make sure that everything is sitting flat. That's it. And I'll rough up that edge too. I know I'm going over time here. It looked too neat. We've got to make it look old. And it already is old. There we go. Lovely. So what I'll do in the meantime, see now that piece can come up here and meet, oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. This netting from the front can come across over the fold and meet up with the top of that piece of lace. There we go. That's a good start. Let me turn it this way so you can really see it. Let me zoom up a little bit so you get more of a bigger picture. So we've got our flower here growing out of something, and then we've got a cluster at the front. And if it all sort of blends in the folds, I think it'll look fine either way that it sits. Yeah, okay, excellent. All right, guys, that gives me something to stitch down. as it all slowly comes together. And then I'm hoping that I can get up to Barham, find some more goodies to go through this zone because it's still very plain on the back. I can stitch my pink fabric on. And this is coming along nicely. And then, of course, inside is the start of my concertina bags. Oh, hang on, we've got to put this fabric first. Gosh, we're going over time now. That fabric will go in there. That will go in there as it all comes together to make my pouch. All right, guys, I'm going to say goodbye and I will see you next week in this particular project. Otherwise, catch you tomorrow and goodness knows what. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Bye.